In this episode, we leave Calgary, Alberta, after lunching with our cousins there, and head further north to Alberta's capital city, Edmonton, where, after visiting relatives there, our very first equipment malfunction of the trip befalls us as we attempt to get to Dawson Creek, British Columbia, on the road to Alaska. From Florida to Alaska, from the East Coast to the West Coast, join Jane and Steve celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, traveling across North America in the Cool Nana Coach, their 27-foot 4 Freedom Elite Class C motorhome, as they visit the many beautiful points of interest in all 50 United States on their golden anniversary adventure. After our stop in Vulcan, we traveled 80 miles to Calgary, just in time for lunch with our cousins Brenda Thaber and Janet Babcock. It was unfortunate that we only had an hour or so to visit with them, but we cherished the time as we moved on another 190 miles to Edmonton, wrapping up a 340-mile-long travel day. We camped at Shakers Acres RV Park, where we had camped on our 2019 visit to Alberta's capital city. Shakers Acres RV Park on 103rd Avenue is conveniently located right at Edmonton's doorstep. It's not a fancy resort-type RV park, but one where you can enjoy easy access to the city without being in the city, if you know what I mean. The next day, we visited additional relatives in Edmonton and enjoyed a sumptuous barbecue hosted at cousins Suzanne and Tony Biamontes, and had a great visit with them, Aunt Barbara and Uncle Jim Appleton, and cousins Cheryl and Kevin Stedman. We said goodbye and farewell to everyone and returned to Shakers Acres to our campsite, where we enjoyed a fantastic sunset just before 11 p.m. Up north here, the days are getting much longer and the nights are getting much shorter. The following morning, all set for an early start, trouble. No running water in the Cool Nana Coach. The freshwater pump had apparently failed. Since Edmonton is the last major city we will be in for the next 2 months, and lots of dry camping is in the forecast, it was absolutely imperative to find a replacement pump and install it before we could go anywhere. The clock was ticking, and we were concerned that checkout time from the campground was closing in. But in true Canadian fashion, the folks at the camp office understood our situation and said no worries, and said there were several RV dealers in Edmonton and not to worry about the checkout time. Thanks to the internet, I was able to locate the replacement pump at Woody's RV World dealership, located just about 10 miles away. Our water pump is mounted under the dinette seat, and with the tools I had brought along, I replaced the pump successfully, and once again, we were on the road. But we had lost about 4.5 hours of the day, and it was now 1 p.m. Fortunately, we were now far enough north where the sun doesn't set until nearly 10 p.m., and our next destination, Dawson Creek, was 365 miles away, a nearly 7-hour drive, so with a gas and dinner stop, we could arrive there somewhere around 9 p.m. After having some lunch, we departed Edmonton on the famed Yellowhead Hi-Way, also known as Alberta Highway number 16, around 1:45 p.m. Now things were really beginning to get real. This is the highway we traveled on in 2019 that, when we saw the very first turnoff sign for Alaska, made the choice not to go to the 49th state on that particular trip. In hindsight, Jane and I regretted that decision, as the closing of the Canadian border in 2020 for the next 2 years would stall our journey beyond our goal to complete it by November 2020, our 50th or golden anniversary. We continue on the Yellowhead Highway for some 40 miles and take the exit for Alberta 43, which will take us past Grande Prairie and ultimately Dawson Creek, which is where the famed Alcan Highway actually begins. Yes, after nearly 3 years of waiting, we are actually now on the road to Alaska. The roads in Alberta have been excellent thus far, and weather permitting, we should be able to make up some of our lost time. Just outside the town of Mayerthorpe, we see storm clouds on the horizon. Looks like we're going to have some more of that weather we've encountered throughout this journey, rain. It's about 250 miles further to our next gas stop, which will be Grande Prairie, Alberta. I sure hope this rain stops soon. Well, our prayers have been answered. The rain has stopped. There's nothing more tiring on a long drive, especially on the heels of a 4.5-hour delay, than driving through rain. And we are so glad the rain has finally stopped as we pass through the town of Fire Creek. We ended up stopping 285 miles from Edmonton in Grande Prairie, some 82 miles short of our intended destination. Tired from a long 10-hour day, we made dinner and camped at Camp Walmart for the night. Walmart is one of our main supply sources while on the road, so we stocked up while we were there. As you can see, we were not the only boondockers at the Grande Prairie Super Walmart. So, after a very long day, we enjoyed dinner in the Cool Nana coach, installed our blackout panels since it's still daylight here at 11 p.m., and turned in for the night for some much-needed sleep. We started out very early the next morning and arrived at Dawson Creek, British Columbia at 8:30 a.m. This is the start, mile marker 0, of the famed Alcan, the Alaska-Canada Highway to Alaska, built by the United States Army Corps of Engineers during World War II. It was the most expensive project conducted by the United States since the construction of the Panama Canal. Also known as the Alaskan Highway or the Alcan Highway, is 1,382 miles long, and it connects Dawson Creek, British Columbia in Canada to Delta Junction, Alaska.
Dawson Creek, on the right.
It is a mostly paved or chip-sealed highway, which is open year-round and passes through the rugged northern landscape of British Columbia, Yukon Territory, and Alaska. The Dawson Creek Visitor Center doesn't open until 9 a.m., so we took a short stroll down the main drag to see the Mile Zero Monument and the quaint, well-manicured village Main Street with its point-of-interest signage and the lovely murals depicting days gone by.
open this time now, right? That's okay. All we have is time.
Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you.
We've been on the road for 23 days and we have traveled 3,228 miles to get to Dawson Creek to begin our journey on the famed, more than 1,500 mile long Alaska Highway as our golden anniversary adventure continues.
We hope you enjoyed traveling with us on our journey to Alaska and hope you'll join us on our next episode of our golden anniversary adventure, The Road to Alaska.